General Motors CEO Mary Barra has just claimed that General Motors can overtake Tesla in electric car sales within the next few years. Now, my question to you is, how is this any different to Elon saying funding secured? To me, they're one and the same thing. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. Great to have you here on the channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back to everyone else. I've just been down at the BMX track with my son, Jack, and he's had a pretty big crash in a BMX race. Another kid's just ridden into him. He's got a few cuts on him, and he got up after he hit the ground, after he stacked, he got back on and he rode to the finish line. I was really proud of him, and he did have some pretty decent injuries on him, so it was tough of him for an 8-year-old to go and do that, right? You know what? It feels to me like General Motors have crashed. They've had a big stack. They sold 26 electric cars in the fourth quarter of 2021 in the United States. That was a pretty subpar performance. But now I feel like rather than getting back on the bike and trying to get to the finish line and knowing that they're going to come last, but knowing they're going to get to the finish line anyway, they're claiming they're going to that somehow they're going to magically pass everyone else and come first, even though the race has already been over. So my son, the race was already over. By the time he got back on his bike, there was no chance he could catch up to the person who won the race. I mean, he was neck and neck with a few other kids, and those kids, by the time he was able to get back on, they'd already finished. And that's exactly what's happened here. This race has been won and done. And General Motors claiming that somehow within the next few years, they're going to magically overtake Tesla, to me seems like it's no different. It's deceiving investors. It's clearly dishonest. Mary Barra can't possibly believe that this is going to happen because it's just statistically impossible. I mean, if General Motors was presenting the data on how they're actually planning on doing this, then I wouldn't be saying this. I would be saying, oh, well, General Motors, here's their plan for the next 3 years. This is what they're going to do. Here's the numbers. They're saying in 2022, this is how many EVs they have production at this factory. This is how many EVs they can produce at this factory. This is how many batteries they can produce here. This is why they can produce this many cars. Therefore, in 2023, this is what they get. Have you seen that information? You've got to show that to me because I haven't. I haven't seen any evidence from General Motors whatsoever that they can actually do what they're claiming they can do. And I don't see why this is any different to how the SEC prosecuted Elon Musk and Tesla for Elon saying that funding was secured for the company to go private. I mean, basically, Tesla never presented any facts to that effect. General Motors is doing the exact same thing, making outrageous claims and presenting no facts supporting their claims. To me, that is misleading investors. Now, personally, I love General Motors, the company. Don't get me wrong. I really like the cars they make. I think the new Silverado EV is honestly one of the best, possibly the best electric pickup truck coming to market. Cybertruck to me is, obviously I've got a pre-order in for that. But honestly, if I could get a Silverado electric pickup truck when they come out, I would absolutely consider it. I think it's fantastic. So I do want General Motors to succeed. Now, that said, General Motors has been talking up its massive EV future now for a while, but it doesn't have much to show for all that talk. Now, Mary Barra claims that things are going to change very, very quickly in this segment for GM, but she has been saying that for a fair while now. She had recently claimed that General Motors actually leads the world in electrification. Now, GM, though, does have big plans to invest a lot of money in the EV segment. Last week, they made a major announcement saying they're committing more than $7 billion in a JV, by the way. It wasn't just from GM, it's a joint venture, to ramp up electric car and battery production in Michigan in the US. Now, in a recent announcement on CBS Mornings, Barra said, "We want to lead in EVs. Full stop." Now, I've reported over the last few months that Mary Barra has made similar comments. She said that she is confident that General Motors can top Tesla by 2025. And, confidence is one thing. Dishonesty in the face of obvious reality is an entirely different matter. Now, let's be honest, Mary Barra is in her position that she's in because she's a very intelligent person. She has people working at General Motors giving her the numbers, telling her the production capacity, giving her the fine details of the company and where the company's heading and what their production numbers are. She would have known well in advance that GM only sold 26 EVs, or were only going to sell that many EVs in the fourth quarter of 2021. She also would have known that the General Motors owned Hummer Edition 1 sold one vehicle. They delivered one of them in the fourth quarter of 2021. Now, General Motors celebrated that like it was some kind of success. It was this amazing thing that they'd achieved that. Now, I think it's a little bit misleading the way that they're suggesting that Hummer is producing EVs when they only sold one of them, or only delivered one of them anyway. Now, as Inside EV says, Mary Barra and General Motors are well aware that in order to catch and actually beat Tesla, the automaker needs to expand its EV efforts significantly. And all that expansion cannot happen in time for them to actually achieve this goal that they claim they're going to achieve by 2025. It just isn't actually logically possible. In addition to that, why isn't it possible? Well, they need the batteries. Obviously, I've reported on this channel numerous times. Tesla has contracts with CATL, Panasonic, BYD, LG Chem, LG Energy Solutions, makes its own batteries, and also appears to have signed a contract with Goshon High Tech for 200 gigawatt hours of lithium iron phosphate batteries in the near future. GM, on the other hand, only has one battery supplier. And obviously, if you want to ramp up EVs, it's one thing to build your own batteries, but Tesla knows that it's not that easy to do that and to do that quickly, which is why they have all those other suppliers, in addition to making their own batteries themselves. Now, if GM is able to actually deliver on its goals by 2025, that would be fantastic. But passing Tesla won't happen regardless of whether they deliver on those goals or not. Just isn't mathematically possible. Now, according to Automotive News, Tesla dominated the US EV market in 2021 with 72% market share. Now, all the naysayers said that by 2021, Tesla wouldn't even be in the picture anymore because by this time, legacy auto would have disrupted them completely. They would have just, within a matter of months, taken market share from Tesla and reduced or relegated Tesla to an afterthought in the market. But the absolute opposite has happened. And why is that? Well, it all comes down to production. It's harder to produce a lot of EVs than anyone realized, and that isn't changing tomorrow. Now, obviously, Tesla just sold nearly 1 million EVs in 2021. Well, maybe they sold more than that, but they delivered nearly 1 million anyway. And it's looking for a 50% growth year on year going forward. And based on all the numbers that we see, that's very open, disclosed information. It looks very likely that that will happen. In fact, I think that's an underestimation of what will happen this year. Now, a recent article by CNBC about GM's investments said this: the new spending is part of a plan to increase GM's North American production capacity to build 1 million electric vehicles by 2025. GM has projected it will sell more than 1 million EVs globally by mid-decade and overtake Tesla as the top US-based seller of electric vehicles during that time frame. Now, if Tesla sold nearly 1 million EVs in 2021 and has plans to increase that by 50% by 2022, GM's plans for 1 million in 2025 clearly are nowhere near enough to overtake Tesla. It's just a mathematical reality. Honestly, even my 8-year-old son, who just crashed in his BMX race today, could have worked that out for GM. Now, Tesla's 2021 production came from just 2 factories. Obviously, now they're set to open not only 2 additional factories. I think we're only focusing on this fact. I think potentially even more important than the 2 factories that have just opened, essentially, in Texas and Germany, is the fact that Tesla is massively ramping up production in China and increasing the size of their gigafactory in China by 50%. But we're ignoring another reality here. Tesla's battery supply will drastically expand this year, with Panasonic expanding its operations in North America, with Tesla beginning to build its own batteries, which it appears they have a lot more supply of than they were letting on, with CATL recently building a battery factory right down the road from Gigafactory Shanghai, and with Tesla also signing a contract for battery supply with BYD. Everything in the future points to the reality that Tesla will be selling millions of EVs by 2025. And if GM does hit its targets, then it will only sell 1 million. In other words, maybe 1/3 of the sales that Tesla has in terms of electric vehicle deliveries in 2025. Now, 1/3 is a long way away from, or 1 million is a long way away from 3 million. They're 2 very, very vast numbers. Now, the only possible way for GM to actually deliver on the promises that they appear to be making their shareholders is by something happening, some sort of incredible market shift that none of us here, no one is currently predicting other than the lunatic shorts who have already lost billions of dollars. Obviously, they're going to predict that Tesla will be bankrupt in 6 months or whatever they're saying, but those guys are all losing money by the second. But the reality is, any sane person is not predicting that Tesla will sell anything less than even 2 million EVs in 2025, and that would be still double what GM will sell. Now, I think Tesla will probably be selling potentially 4 million by 2025, maybe even more than that. But realistically, if we just look at Tesla's sales in the US in 2025, I still think it'll be significantly more than 1 million. But I could be wrong. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, I've got to point out the fact though, GM is not saying they will be selling 1 million EVs in the US in 2025. They're saying they'll be selling 1 million EVs globally in 2025. So the goal here for Tesla to win this race is only to sell 1.1 million EVs in 2025. I think we all know the number is going to be orders of magnitude higher than that number. Now, to sum all this up, if Tesla is already selling 1 million EVs globally, and that was without 2 brand new giant factories and 1 factory essentially doubling in size, then I think Barra is clearly delusional. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind having some of what she's smoking because it's pretty strong stuff. Now, if we're going to be particular, maybe this is actually what I'm missing. Mary Barra actually says 1 million by 2025, not 1 million per year by 2025. So maybe that's what we're missing. Maybe she's aware of this little wordplay and she's going to come back and say, no, that's not what I said. This is what I said. GM still has to up its game to even get the 1 million cumulative sales by 2025, let alone 1 million annually by then. So maybe that's actually what she's saying. 1 million in total sales between now and 2025. But still, this puts them a long way behind Tesla's projected sales in 2025. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Is Mary Barra crazy? Is she right? Is it possible for GM to do this? Am I missing something here? I think I must be missing something. Let me know what it is. Have a great day, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.